This is the Vastcast, Episode 2, Piracy. Alright, with me today for Episode 2 is Dylan Hashka, WoW player and movie downloader aficionado.
What? Since when?
Since, like, forever.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Whatever.
We also have Kelly, who is a cat aficionado herself, but also likes to stream movies on occasion.
Hello.
And we have Mackenzie, who I'm sure has downloaded his fair share of games in his time.
Well, I do what I want.
No.
You do what you want. And I am Justin Widerski, a frequent streamer of movies because I am a poor college student who also is a film student. And, yeah. In case you haven't guessed, our topic for tonight is piracy, probably because I said it already in the intro. But anyways. Alright, so. Everyone here has pirated something at some point in time, right?
No.
Not an obligation
is
to
the
answer that
NSA
question.
Why would
listening?
I do that?
Mackenzie, you have
obligated.
a very good point. The NSA is probably listening.
Will they kick down the room to this dorm and get all angry at me?
Probably not. But they did sue a little girl not the NSA, but some Finnish company sued a 9-year-old girl for piracy. And I heard that the MPAA sued a cat once because the guy who pirated put it in his cat's name, so they sued the cat for like $25,000.
Oh my god, what?
So you never know. They might pick up on some of this.
That's great. That's
and
great.
sue your
I'd do
ass.
that.
Yep.
Oh man, that's like worse than that time the little girl got her lemonade stand shut down because she doesn't have a business license.
What?
Yeah, there was a thing. There was like a 9-year-old girl trying to just run this little lemonade stand. And they came and they shut her down because she didn't have a license to be selling lemonade on that street.
When was that?
Oh, it was a couple years ago.
I think where was that is a better question.
It was... I'll see if I
Excuse
can
me.
find it. I might bring it up again later, but... Oh, it was great.
Man, okay. You have to be a big prick to do that. And you have to be a lousy cop or lawyer to follow up on that. But anyways, we should probably define piracy. We're not talking about the Captain Phillips Somali piracy. We are talking...
I have the definition from Oxford English Dictionary.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, the definition as pertains to this podcast is the unauthorized reproduction or use of an invention or work of another as a book, recording, computer software, intellectual property, etc., especially as constituting an infringement of patent or copyright, plagiarism, and that's it.
Okay. I also have a definition. It is from the Urban Dictionary. It has 1,300 upvotes and only 100 downvotes. It's the number one definition for piracy. It is, will never be stopped.
That is pretty good. According to the RIAA, a main hater of piracy, common examples of online copyright infringement, which is what online piracy is you make an MP3 copy because the CD you bought expressly permits you to do so, but then you put your MP3 copy on the internet using a file sharing network so that millions of other people can download it. Even if you don't illegally offer recordings to others, you join a file sharing network and download unauthorized copies of the copyrighted music you want for free from the computers of other network members. And they go on for a while. Because the RIA are a bunch of stuck-up pricks. Anyways, we'll get into that a little bit later. So the big contesters of piracy do say that it is stealing, hence why they use the word piracy, the act of taking from them the potential of money. Not actually, they claim it's actual money, but it's technically the potential of money. But it's really not. If you think about it, we're not really stealing anything. We're making copies of something. We're not stealing from them. We don't take the file and then delete it from them and keep it ourselves. It's not stealing, it's copying. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, it's like Robin Hood. Without the deleting.
It'd be like Robin Hood if he printed money instead of taking it from the rich and giving it to the poor.
That seems a little illegal.
Well, I guess technically, piracy is so.
Okay,
But
sure.
that's something that I think is a big is a big like thing that you have to concentrate on when you're fighting piracy. Is they always talk like you're stealing from them. You're stealing this movie, this song, this da 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 from the artist, but you're really not. You're just making a copy of it. And right there, right then, it makes it different than stealing. Sure, it's still a negative thing, quote unquote, and it's still illegal, but it's not stealing like they make it out to be. So I guess we should probably get into some arguments for and against piracy. As put forth by the RIAA, who does all the music defense, and the MPA, who does all the movie defense. And I'm sure there's somebody out there that does book defense, but who reads books these days?
Nobody.
Exactly. Actually, not really. There's lots of people that read books. So the arguments for piracy. Let's get into those because I really want to touch on those. For one, consumer contempt, and that is when a company flat out makes it impossible for you to get something, makes it outrageously priced, makes it like they put out a DVD of the Harry Potter movie, but it's just the movie, and it's a really it's a really shitty copy of it, or something like that. It's where the consumers don't feel justified to buy the product because the company making it is really shitty at doing what they're doing. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I don't know. I know a few things that I've tried to go and watch have just been absolutely impossible to get to. I don't know. Game of Thrones is one that's just notoriously impossible to watch unless you want to shell out like $120 a month for a cable subscription with HBO. Like, that's just too damn much to watch Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that goes with. There's some video games that are like $30, which isn't expensive for a video game, but they're crap. They're just garbage. No one wants to play them unless they're free. Then people would play them only to like try them out.
Or like those video games that have like a ton of DLC that is on the disc and you have to pay to unlock anyways.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you just, download it? Because the companies obviously don't give a shit about you and just want money. So
Capcom seems to be notorious.
And I guess it ties into the other thing, the unavailability of products. And, I hear about this a lot because I'm into the exploitation horror stuff, and there's people that say, I can only find this movie on VHS or Laserdisc. They don't have it on DVD or anything like that. And I think that unavailability is probably the most justified out of the reasons to pirate something. And yet companies still get in a hissy fit if you download the second season of, third or fourth season of like some 90s TV show that you like, but they never put it out on DVD. And that's kind of their fault. Like, or with anime, for example, where you cannot, the only way you can get it is by getting the $700 DVD set from Aniplex or something like that.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sort of like even indie-ish movies. Like, I don't know, Welcome to Whoop Whoop is my particularly favorite example of that one. Like, it's an okay movie and everything, and like, I'd be willing to pay $10 for a copy of that movie, but the only place that I ever really found it was like Discland said that they could get their hands on a copy, but it'd be like $70. And I was like, no, let's not shell out that much money for a movie that I can't find anywhere else anyway.
It's like, the more indie and less well known that something is, the cheaper it should be, not the more expensive, because that just inhibits people from seeing it and encourages piracy. But, that's never going to happen. Nor is, companies not being assholes when it comes to DVD releases and putting stuff out of print and things like that. So we move on to the next one. Only because it's free. And I think this is a huge one. People who pirate stuff only pirate it because it's free. If there was not that option, they probably wouldn't get that product anyways. So you guys bitching and moaning about how it's hurting your industry so much, that money most likely wouldn't have come to you anyways, because I wouldn't have gone and seen Expendables 2 in the theater or something like that. I probably wouldn't buy the DVD of The Notebook, but I'll stream them online.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that one. Like, I can't tell you how many things I've gone and like downloaded just because I was like a little bit curious about what it was, but there was no way I was gonna pay money to satisfy that. Like, I could and I could get all the answers that I wanted, but like, do I really want to pay the money for it? Like, I can live not knowing what this band sounds like. And then if it is actually really good, I will more often than not go and buy a copy of whatever it is that it was.
Yeah, and that's another big thing. Like, if it's good, I'm going to buy a copy of it. At some point in time, I'm going to go and I'm going to get a copy of it.
This is exactly what Blizzard does when you think about as far as video games go. Blizzard does not really care. I'm sure they do kind of care when you pirate their games, but as far as StarCraft goes, I know for sure that Blizzard does not care one bit because they know that their game is that good that people who do pirate it and do play the game, StarCraft, they know that eventually those players will actually shell out, $10 on the events, on special deals, or for $50 for the full-fledged game to actually play it online and play with their friends.
Yeah, I can see what you mean there. It's just kind of... I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I think there's that sense of entitlement that kind of goes into it too. Like, we feel like, yeah, there's those people that say, well, I guess because it's online, I'll get it. But, if I'd gone to the theater, if it wasn't there, I wouldn't have gone to the theater and seen it. But there's also those people that have this like sense of entitlement that like, why the fuck would I go to the theater and pay for this when I can just get it here? Even if they probably would have gone to the theater and paid for it or bought the DVD or paid for the album, they download it because they think that, it's on the internet, therefore, and it's free, therefore, I might as well take advantage of it. And, that sometimes, makes sense if you don't have money or da-da-da-da-da, but there also seems to be kind of this snobbish sense of entitlement that goes around of, oh, well, because it's free, I am entitled to take advantage of it.
I wouldn't go see it anyways. Phantom Menace 3D.
Shit. A weird running theme is that I noticed that a lot of podcasts bring up Phantom Menace. In the first 10 episodes, Phantom Menace comes up a lot. And in 4 or 5 podcasts I've listened to, and apparently also this one, it's kind of a weird trend.
It's just that easy to bring up.
It really is. I mean, as soon as you want to talk about something that was shit, like Phantom Menace wrecked the franchise.
Oh my god.
But when, Star Wars 7 comes out, you're going to go to the theater and see it, Mac. You're not going to...
Almost definitely.
You're not going to...
Of course.
You're not going to, go download a copy that's some shitty camcorder edition just because, well, it's free and,
Well, I know
might as
somebody
well
who would do
instead
that.
of going and paying for it.
Yeah, absolutely, because Star Wars has been known to put out good content. Like, I will go, and that's good quality stuff more often than not. And I will go watch that. I will pay money for that always.
All right. So along with this also comes the increase of an audience. If a musical artist gets their stuff thrown up on YouTube, well, even if they're not getting paid for it, their audience automatically just grows and grows and grows. For example, if we charge for this podcast. If, for example, someone took our stuff and put it up on BitTorrent after we had 25 episodes or whatever and had it in a package, I probably wouldn't mind. Sure, we would be losing the theoretical money that we may or may not get. At the same time, it's more people listening to us.
Yep.
And, that's a great thing, And I think that's what happens when, if you look at that, for example, that article with the 9-year-old girl that got sued, the artist was pissed about it. And she was, saying, oh, how could you do this? The corporations are the ones that really stamp this out. It's the artists that just want people to hear their music because they still have people that pay for it. And most of the time, if you like it, you'll go to that artist's concert or you'll buy the artist's t-shirt or you'll buy the artist's actual album when you get the chance.
I was just gonna say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was the creators of Minecraft who basically just outright said, yeah, go pirate our game. If you like it, pay for it when you can, because not everybody could necessarily. And I remember was floating around a lot. Like a lot of people were playing the free copies, and I think most of the people that I know that got really into it have paid for it and have since like started running servers for Minecraft and everything, and it got really big for a while.
Oh, it still is. Believe me. Just walk to any high school and it's like that's all kids talk about, COD and Minecraft.
Yeah, it's like the two polar opposites. It's kind of funny how they're both the most popular. But yeah, I mean, I probably would have paid for Minecraft eventually, but I fortunately had it gifted to me, which was nice. But yeah, I mean, like, I've also heard I've heard this argument from this one guy, and Mr. Josh Hadley, who does other podcasts like Lost in the Static Radio Gym, etc., etc. Go to 1201beyond.com to listen to those. But he says that artists should not charge for their works at all. And that if you're a real artist, you would rather have people, be exposed to your work than do it for the money. And I think that's kind of a bullshit argument.
I don't agree with that. Was now who painted the Vatican? It was what's his face?
Michelangelo?
Yeah, one of those Ninja
No.
Turtles.
Yeah,
It was one of the Ninja
Raphael?
Turtles. Sure. I'm pretty sure they paid him. Vatican paid him to paint it.
Yeah.
He definitely did not just wake up one morning and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see if they want me to paint it."
I don't
for
think he
fun."
was talking about that. I think he was talking about people like
But was he not a real
musicians.
artist? Is my point.
No. I mean, I would think he was more saying, like, for example, if you go to us with a theoretical plus extension, oh, we have this free thing that we're offering you. It's our work, but now that we have you hooked, go over and pay for this extra stuff. That he has a problem with for some reason, and he says that that's not what a true artist would do, because now they're doing it for the money. When a band could put their old bad takes of songs out for free on the internet, instead they charge for it. That's them going for the money and not for the free. And it's a really convoluted line that he draws. It makes no sense to me, and I don't know. I just felt like bringing that up for some reason.
I think I agree to that, like to a point. I mean, if you want to be like a professional artist, clearly you have to make enough money to like sustain your own life. But like once you reach that point, like you don't necessarily like maybe being like this billionaire music artist, maybe not necessarily as necessary as a lot of other things, but like I don't know, you do need to definitely be able to be supportive of yourself and sort of have it yourself be comfortable where you're at.
Yeah, and he would say that, like, for example, when James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, did the Kickstarter for his movie, after it went over the amount that they asked for, what he did is he took the excess money and just put it in his pocket and not in the actual movie. And he would call that out and say that was, really awful of him, because he's already making money off of, the ads on his website and stuff like that. And I in that instance, I say that was kind of douchey of him to not put that into the movie. But so that's like that guy with the glasses, where they have ads, so they're already making a good chunk of money off of those ads. Then they also offer this plus, membership where you get excess stuff, or when they put out DVDs, they have exclusive reviews on them. That he considers bullshit.
I have the artists who painted the Sistine Chapel.
Who's that?
Michelangelo, Sandro Botticelli, Pietro Perugino Pinturicchio, which is funny because it sounds like a Shakespeare name. Anyway, Domenico Ghirlandaio. And then there were a few others.
Those Ninja Turtles.
The very large number of Ninja Turtles. All right, so moving on, the last argument is the fuck the man argument, which I personally subscribe to. Yes, I could buy this DVD. I already went and saw this in the theaters or something, I already bought your merchandise, etc., etc. I'm not going to give you stupid-ass corporations even more of my money just because you're charging $25 to $30. It's along the lines of the consumer contempt, but with a more anti-corporation vibe to it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But that only works for certain medias. I mean,
Yeah.
For movies it works great, but for music, sort of. I heard it on the radio. It's already been given to me. Now I want it for myself. What I don't understand is how come, just downloading a YouTube video is not piracy, but downloading the actual MP3 file is, you know?
That is a very good point. And it's kind of the same thing where corporations will get up in, a fit about you downloading TV shows online. But if you turn on your TV, you can find reruns of that same show.
Yeah.
It's just instead of waiting until Thursday at 7 o'clock to watch that, you just watch it now.
And then you TiVo it, and
And
they
then
don't
you
get mad at
TiVo
that for
it.
some reason.
And we already proved in the Supreme Court that TiVo is not a form of piracy or anything like that. It's not copyright infringement because,
Isn't it because you
Because
paid
it's-
for it? You paid for TiVo?
No, it's not the technology itself. It's the concept where they're saying like recording on VHS or TiVo or whatever is illegal because it's unpermitted performance or whatever, public performance or something like that, if I remember correctly. And the argument was, no, it's not. You guys broadcast it, so it's our right to take that broadcast and do what we want with it. And that's why TiVo
Publicly
is still
broadcast
legal.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, there was something like that with the radio and how you could record the radio onto cassette tapes. And I think that one did actually wind up going to some court, but I'm pretty sure that they just said, no, you're being silly. That's not illegal at all. That's something that's perfectly fine. And clearly, I'm pretty sure that's what they said about it, because we still have that technology to do that. I mean, just record it.
Yeah. I mean, like, the bootleg market, the piracy has existed for a long time. And, skipping ahead a little bit, I mean, it's been around, like you said, recording the radio on cassettes was a big thing for a long time. Recording VHSs of movies off of cable and stuff like that was a big thing for a while. And then when DVR came out, that was and now we have TiVo. It's been around for a long time. And then especially with the whole bootleg market, that was a huge thing before the internet. And it still kind of is. If you go to cons and stuff like that, you can find that. You can find, copies of TV shows that they never, ever will ever release on DVD. Or, you can just find copies of stuff that are actually probably the same price as the normal, just there for your buying, I guess.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I just found the difference between recording it on tape over the radio as opposed to digital media. Apparently the record industry wasn't mad about using tapes because they would degrade over time and it wasn't like an infinite copy. But digital, you can just store it, and then you can, anytime your CD breaks or anything, you just make a new one. So you sort of get infinite copies of it, and it won't degrade over time.
Supposedly.
No, yeah, I see what you mean. The record industry was still in a bit of a hussy over music piracy during the cassette era, though, because I heard this thing where some band recorded an album, and when they released the cassette, half the cassette they left blank as for you to record on as a statement against the record industry getting pissed about piracy and stuff like that. And not necessarily online piracy, but, making copies of music that has been released or recording it off the radio and stuff like that. But I see what you mean, though. The infinite copy is definitely scary to corporations, and it's kind of this like a fear of technology almost, where now that it's so big that they're afraid that it's going to completely destroy them, when in actuality it's never, ever, ever going to come close to doing so.
Yeah, and I want to say the recording industry was saying something about losing, was it $10,000 a song that was downloaded? And how are you coming up with this math? I would normally be paying $1 maximum for this song. If I want to go to the store and pay $15 for a CD with 16 songs on it, that's less than $1 that I'm taking from you.
Here's what the RIA website says, that one credible study by the Institute for Policy Innovation pegs the annual harm at $12.5 billion in losses to the U.S. economy, as well as more than 70,000 lost jobs and $2 billion in lost wages to American workers.
Hold up, bullshit. I'm not calling that as a loss to the American economy. That's just shifting what industry it's going into. That money isn't simply not being spent anymore. It's just going somewhere else. that is potentially more constructive to society. Like, not saying that music isn't, but like, what is it really like? It's sort of a cyclical industry. It just feeds itself, as opposed to like buying actual technology that can go to fund better technology, or I don't know, just paying for like food services that will like you have to buy those anyway. But I mean, you might as well be fueling people's jobs on like a more sort of lower scale. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, instead of buying, that $20 movie, you go to the grocery store and you buy, 20 things of eggs, and those eggs are now putting the money in the pocket of the farmer. And if hundreds of people do that, then those farmers can now afford to hire, 1,000 farmhands or whatever. And that money just doesn't just disappear like they're saying. And odds are, if that quote unquote $12.5 billion, which they don't say that it's a true study, they just say it's a credible study.
Right, by an industry-funded organization is what it looks like.
Yep. And that $12.5 billion, how much of that would have gone straight back into the pockets of the managers and the corporate heads that already run the record industry?
Right.
How many bonuses would that have paid for before it went into the pockets of, or even created any more jobs?
Yeah, it said, what was it? $2 billion were lost in wages to American workers and 70,000 jobs lost? I think that came out to something like, what was it, like $25,000 a year per person, which is like, that's okay. Like, there are better jobs out there.
Yeah. Which means that $10.5 billion is going where?
To what? It's clearly not paying American workers.
The music industry is doing just fine without, and that $12.5 billion they're losing, how much money are they making a year?
Right.
That's the real question we should be asking, and we really have no idea. Unless, someone can find a number for me.
I think it sounds like multiple people are working on this right now. What is their cash flow currently?
I don't know. According to Wiki Answers, it's $40 billion a year.
So it's a $40 billion industry, and they're losing a quarter of that?
Supposedly.
And they're still experiencing close to 10% growth a year?
Oh, I don't remember where I saw this. Oh, yeah. In 2012, another thing they say on the RIA website is that while industry revenues from digital formats continue to grow, and in 2012 surpassed $4 billion for the first time, up to 14% versus the prior year after crossing the 50% threshold for the first time in 2011. Digital music theft has been a major factor behind the overall global market decline. So what they're saying, what they're phrasing it is that the market is declining, even though previously in the paragraph they say that it's growing, when really what it actually means is that, quote unquote, they're not growing as much as they did last year, which is still bullshit because more and more people in 2012 and 2011 and 2012 became aware of the internet and of iTunes and started downloading, and it's only natural that would slow now that everyone's gotten onto it. That now that everyone's on iTunes, there's not all of a sudden spontaneously 50% more people for them to tap into as a market. They've hit everybody, okay? Or, 14% more maybe they can still tap. But they're blaming the fact that they've already dominated the market and they're not growing as much as before on quote-unquote digital music theft.
Yeah, did they...
Which I guess... Yeah, go ahead.
Did you say that they blamed the global market decline on piracy? Is that just the global media market? Or are they trying to expand that to be like the market as a whole?
I think the global market decline means the industry revenues from digital formats.
Okay. So I was about to say, if they're trying to claim that this current economic situation is the pirates' fault, we've got some issues.
See, why didn't they use that argument during SOPA? Silly. So I guess we should probably get into now, we've said it a few times, but we should get into the arguments against piracy, what they say. And first off, we have the fact that it is illegal. Right off the bat. And I don't think anyone here can really argue the fact that it is technically a form of copyright infringement for us to be using and downloading copies of intellectual properties such as movies and music. However, they're following one that it quote-unquote hurts the industry. We have just been discussing and saying that not as likely as they may think. And I guess it depends on industry to industry. Because when you're talking about the movie industry, okay, that's a fucking juggernaut as it is. And while it probably is going to collapse, at least the Hollywood Hollywood structure is going to collapse in the next 4 or 5 years. The music industry is doing just fine. iTunes is making them loads and loads of money, just because they don't sell as many $20 CDs that don't need to be $20 anymore doesn't mean that the entire industry is going to die. Or even video games, I think. I don't really think that people who download video games are really making that big of a impact on the market, because people who download video games have to have, and probably will, have bought video games already. Because you don't really get into video games without having played video games. You know what I mean? So, Dylan says that he knows four or five friends that downloaded StarCraft instead of paying for it. Well, those 4 or 5 friends have probably already played World of Warcraft or Diablo or something like that. And they'll probably go on to buy StarCraft 3 or
StarCraft 2.
No, the sequel, whenever it came out in the future.
Yeah, for
or
sure.
buy Diablo 4 or something like that. So with video games, it's pretty cyclical. I don't really think that it hurts them that much. And I think the biggest thing that's pirated in the video game industry is old games. Games that companies can't even make a profit anymore because they're already in the real resale market. Like if you look online, there is a huge ROM community that just, plays, downloads, uploads, and modifies NES games, Super Nintendo games, Game Boy games, any old system they have, and they have like a huge catalog of games for.
Yeah. And I'm gonna think as far as like series go. Yeah, if you get into a series by like downloading a game for free, I mean, I've seen it happen a few times, but like, you get into it and then you're gonna buy the next installment because you like it and you want the official copy right away before the official torrent wouldn't go up. Like, not that it's official, but you're gonna have to wait a while because people have to crack the game, and like you want it right away because you want to play the game. You've been enticed. You like the series.
Yep, exactly. I think an industry that actually is harmed by piracy, though, is the anime industry. And I say that because, unfortunately, the Western market is pretty much founded on piracy. It's founded on people uploading it to the internet and putting on fan subs whenever, the latest episode of Bleach comes out and stuff like that. Because anime didn't really explode in America until the internet made it popular, really, and made it possible for you to watch all the episodes of whatever show you wanted for free with fan subs the day after it came out, or the 2 hours after it came out. And, there have been plenty of shows that have been licensed by Funimation and given dubs purely because the fan subs were so big and so popular. So the anime industry kind of fucked itself over. And that, companies like Aniplex and things like that, they only make like a limited amount of copies of their material and sell it for inordinately large sums of money, just encouraging people to buy one copy of it, put it on the internet, and then never, no one ever else has to buy it or whatnot, unless they're huge fans or they have, all the money in the world. So many companies, these smaller ones like Bandai and stuff like that, have been shut down over the course of time because they, can't be supported by the Western market that they invested in. And I think the only really surviving ones are Aniplex and Funimation, which I don't think are going to go away because there are enough fans like me that do buy DVDs and stuff like that. And I think with the advent of Crunchyroll, Funimation streaming, and Hulu and Netflix, what really is going to make the anime industry stick around and hopefully prevent piracy is the very fact that for such a cheap amount of money per month, you can get so many anime and in HD. So, Dylan, yeah, you've watched anime, and so have you, Kelly, to a small extent. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely would. Although I wouldn't say that I watch a lot of anime on Crunchyroll. More so on Netflix because I like to watch bad anime.
Yeah, God, the Netflix anime currently is so bad. There's only like 3 or 4 good shows.
Hmm. But then again, I only pay, what, $8 a month for that?
Yeah, and with that, you also get the huge
Oh,
catalog of
yeah,
movies and whatnot.
yeah.
Right, and then the final real thing is that it prevents money from getting to the artists. And when a corporation makes that argument, I kind of just laugh because a band is lucky if they get 10% of the record sales, like extremely lucky. Like they have to be the Beatles to get that kind of money. So if you're downloading a movie from a huge corporation or whatnot, you download the latest Taylor Swift album for whatever reason online, you're not really harming Taylor Swift as much as you're harming the poor record label that she's a part of. And the same thing with movies. Like, all the people that worked on a movie, they already got paid.
Yeah.
Okay? They already got paid. So you should not feel bad about downloading a movie, because the only person you're hurting is Warner Brothers.
Or 20th Century Fox.
And yeah, if piracy made it so that a movie completely bombed, then you can feel bad because now they're not going to make their next movie. But piracy will never, ever, ever be that popular because there's, so many people that will go see any movie in the theaters.
Well, it might be that popular, but you're always gonna have the people that will buy it, even if they have pirated. They'll still buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and when it comes to the smaller artists, and this kind of comes into the moral standings where we all stand on piracy. When it comes to smaller artists, yeah, piracy does hurt them. A company that makes $600,000 in a month or whatnot, if you steal $2,000 worth of content from them, well, that's they're still making 98% of their money. But if you steal $2,000 from a guy who makes only $5,000 in a month, or $3,000 in a month, that hurts a lot more. An indie band or an indie filmmaker or a podcast producer like us, who actually tries to live off it for some reason, needs that money way more and has a far smaller audience, which is why I personally have never, well, I don't anymore. I did used to, but I don't anymore. I don't steal from people like Riff Tracks, who are a small company. I don't download indie movies anymore unless they're up on YouTube because the filmmakers put them up there or something like that. Because it hurts them a lot more. How about you guys? Where do you stand on indie artists versus mainstream stuff? And do you still download from the indie artists? Do you see a distinction between the two?
All right. My stance on this whole thing, like, I'll download from just about anyone, but like, if it is good and I do enjoy it, I will definitely go and buy it. Otherwise, I like to go through and clear things out about it once a month. Like, things don't stick around for more than a month. If I didn't like it in a month, I was never gonna buy it anyway. If I do like it and a month runs out and I like it enough to buy it, I definitely will. Like, if I want to keep that, I'll go buy it.
No, I'm gonna go back to like the YouTube thing again. If it really hurts the artist so much, why do they put it up for free on YouTube? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that a lot of larger artists aren't making all that much money. Vivo is making a lot of money off of YouTube revenue and whatnot, ad revenue. As for smaller artists, they're already putting it up for free on YouTube. I know most of them don't have a partnership, YouTube partner, so they just put it up for free on YouTube. And then, like, for as larger companies go, they get mad when you download. Like I said before, you download the MP3, but they don't get mad when you download the video. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I like the one band I use an example is Kirby Crackle. They have all their music available for listening on their website and on YouTube. So I just, downloaded the MP3s. And so now I have all their music, and if they ever come in concert or something like that, I will definitely go and buy a ticket and support them. But they're the ones who decided to put up all their music up for free. So I took advantage of it. But Zoe Keating, who only has 4 or 5 of her songs up on SoundCloud, well, I only have those 4 or 5 songs plus the concert she did on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ever get the chance, I will go see her in concert. I intend to. And if I ever, manage to pull together the money or feel the will to, I will buy one of her albums, That's kind of a distinction I make, is that if you're stupid and you put all your stuff up for free, well, then I'll take advantage of it. But, if you didn't, I will only take advantage of what you put up for free, and I will still support you either way. I don't know, where do you guys stand on piracy in general? Like, I'm sure we've talked about it. Is there anything that you haven't said so far that you would want to say about it?
I think I defined myself pretty good.
I don't know. I guess, like I said, it's a really great way to sort of sample things without. It's like risk free. Like, you go to the grocery store, you take one grape off the vine. Let's be honest, we all do that. If it's a good bunch of grapes, you buy it.
Yeah, it's like sampling.
All right. I see what you mean. How about you, Kelly?
I don't know.
Okay. I think we've talked sufficiently about the RIA and the MPAA and how, evil sons of bitches they are. But let's talk about companies like EA and BioShock and stuff like that, and how they're trying to destroy the resale market of video games, which is really just a step to the side of piracy. I guess, in a sense, it's pretty similar. Reselling your DVD to someone and giving a copy of it, in a sense, is pretty similar. So they're trying... Have you guys heard about this where they were on... I can't remember what game it was. It might have been like Red Dead Redemption or something like that. No, it wasn't Red Dead Redemption, but it was some game where you only had 3 installs, and then the DVD... and then the disc just crapped out. It was coaster. No use anymore. 3 installs, that's all you get.
Oh, dude, that
I've never heard
sucks.
of that.
No,
And then,
that's terrible.
And then with the latest edition of Microsoft Word or whatever, you get 1 install, and then you have to buy it again.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke. Microsoft stopped putting out DVDs for their software.
Whatever the last one they did that for.
Oh, man.
And then there's actually music CDs where I don't think they do this anymore, but when CDs were big, at least, however many years ago that was. If you put it into your computer, it would read a little piece of code, and then it would literally destroy your hard drive. Like, it would start to decrease the space between the CD and the read or whatever, and I don't know the technicals of it, but it would actually, heat up and like melt your shit, and your hard drive would be destroyed.
I don't know anything about that.
And
When was this?
I don't remember, but whatever company, the RIA did this, and then they had this thing where they were like, okay, we have this thing where you can't crack it anymore. It won't open if you put it on your computer. This wasn't the hard drive destroying, but they were trying all sorts of different tactics where it couldn't open on your computer. It would send out a message to the RIA if you did. It would disable your Windows Media Player from ever working again if you did it. It would just shut down your computer. A whole ton of different things. So they had all these different ones, and they came up with this like perfect one that just would not let it open. And they said, if someone can crack this, we will pay you money. And then in a month, the professor at like Stanford or something cracked it, and they sued him for copyright infringement.
What?
Because they're assholes.
Oh god,
and then
why?
The judge threw it out of court because they asked him to do it, in essence. So at least the judge had the sanity to do that.
I can understand, like, rendering the CD itself unusable, but, like, really? You're gonna wreck up my computer? Like, really, man? Really? What?
Not even if you rip it. If you just put the disc into your computer to listen to it.
What the fuck?
That
No!
I paid for this disc.
You're just gonna walk into my house, break my shit, and then get mad at me about it.
Exactly.
What?
And then you get the this is the MPA. You ever get those trailers at the beginning of your DVD or whatever that says like, you wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a purse, you wouldn't steal a DVD. Online piracy is illegal. And it's got like the weird like techno rock rap hip hop beat or whatever in the background. I don't even know. It's very early 2000s.
It's like all these ridiculous like thugs running on the street grabbing purses. Yeah.
Yep. You never know. We might steal cars. You never know. And then apparently back in the 90s, again, something that I'm pulling from Lost in the Static, which you can find at 1201beyond.com, is a song called Don't Copy That Floppy that used to play on TV as an advertisement that would tell you not to make copies of your Microsoft Flight Simulator and give it to your friends because that is piracy and that is illegal. Don't copy
Flight
that
Simulator
floppy.
was shit.
Well, you know, for 1990 whatever, it was the shit. Not shit, the shit. But don't copy that floppy. Look it up on YouTube and listen to it sometime. It's pretty funny. All right, and so I guess we should probably get to the anti-piracy bills, which have been the biggest thing as of late that the government has tried. Most notably in pop culture, SOPA was a big thing. The Stop Online
Yep.
Piracy Act from last year?
I think it was. Oh boy, hold up. We were in junior year because I remember
Yeah, 2000.
being in math and
2012.
reading about that. So that would have been 2012. Yeah, early 2012, like January of 2012.
Yep, 2012, that sounds about right. And that was the Stop Online Piracy Act. It was put together and it was in Congress. Basically, it was so that any reproduction of copyrighted material on the internet was illegal and the site could be taken down for it. And this was hugely contested by basically everybody. Google and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube banded together.
Wikipedia was on there too, and that was the most inconvenient day of my life. Like, Wikipedia goes, "We're gonna shut down today." I'm like, "Damn, I have to do all the research projects today."
Yep, I remember that. That was a pain in the ass. But basically what they were demanding was that if any copyrighted material showed up on Google, and Google apparently gets like 250,000 new websites a day, so they would shut down Google if anything showed up on Google that was copyrighted material. Anything on YouTube, and YouTube, I think they said they get 24 hours of material a minute or an hour or something like that. So YouTube would literally need the population of like New York to go through and make sure that none of the videos that popped up on their site had copyrighted material. Any company basically any company, like if Google tried to hire all those employees, or YouTube tried to hire all those employees, or Facebook tried to hire all those employees, they would go bankrupt. So it's either get shut down or go bankrupt. And so none of the companies wanted that. And luckily the bill got shut down. But it was kind of bazooka to solve a rat infestation kind of thing where it was completely insane.
Yeah, no, I feel like that would have crashed the industry more than it would have helped. Because, like, anybody that was either, like, all the little indie producers, all of a sudden they were screwed, so it cost money to get their stuff on any site ever. All of the larger sites, YouTube, Google, Facebook, all that shenanigan, they were screwed because it would cost so much money to be able to filter everything. And if they did, suddenly they wouldn't have any content to put on there because nobody could afford to pay them to put it on there because that's the only way they could fund it. And like the whole thing would just spiral out of control, and then the RIAA and the MPA would be sitting there going, "How the hell did this go wrong? All I want to do was burn down the spider web in the corner of my house." Lit the whole thing on fire.
And there have been a lot of I don't have any solid examples of a more recent bill, but there have been some bills and stuff like that that have been proposed in Congress to take control of the internet and to get rid of net neutrality for the purposes of A, controlling piracy, and B, controlling child pornography, which is kind of the two flags that people wave when they want to take control of the internet.
Didn't CISPA, I want to say it was whatever that CISPA was, I think they just tried to revive, I thought.
Yeah, wasn't that PIPA?
No, there was SOPA and then
PIPA,
PIPA, and those
yeah.
got shot down hardcore. And then CISPA showed up as this
Yep.
sort of backup, okay, this one's a little bit better. Like, it's not as nuclear of an option, but yeah, it came back just like a month or two ago, I think. Yeah, October 21st, I've got articles on it.
Oh, okay. Cyber Intelligence
Yep.
Sharing and Protection Act, which basically enabled the NSA to increase the amount that they can look for cybercrime, which starts to get into some pretty pretty hefty stuff when it comes to the internet. We can get into how Google and the NSA are reading your emails, and how Facebook and the NSA are reading your chats and going through your posts and stuff like that, and how Skype is listening in on your calls. But I think that's a slightly different topic. But it just seems like corporations and whatnot are using piracy, a relatively minor problem, for their own advantage, either for profit or for the complete destruction of net neutrality, which is not good. What do you guys think the future of piracy will be? Do you think it'll be just as pervasive from now on? Do you think it'll increase in popularity? Do you think that the government will finally shut it down, but in the process just cause us to, in the process, either destroy the internet or force us to all go to network, or what am I talking about? User-to-user internet places like Tor or whatnot. What do you guys think? Future of piracy?
It will never be stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll ever be, like, fully stopped, but I think it'll be just a series of really tiny inconveniences to the rest of us that just build up over a long amount of time. And whenever there's something big or radical like SOPA, it gets shot down really hard. But then they do sort of little things, like when they shut down, what was that, Mega Media got shut down.
Mega Upload.
Mega
MPA
Upload, that's what it was.
just shut down.
Yeah.
MPA just shut down ISO-Hunt a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, what's
Yep,
up with
I think
that?
ISO-Hunt came back, though, didn't they? They paid
No,
the
they got shut
absurd
down for
fee.
good.
Oh, it's
Those
gone for
Swedish
good? Okay.
people, they don't
they're,
like it.
they're nuked. The FBI
Okay.
shut them down.
Yeah.
I think.
But, like, they're just going to keep taking off, like, these little things that'll just keep chipping away at it. And I think eventually it'll go down to the point where it's, like, it's going to be under the radar, basically, to the point where it becomes more of an inconvenience to deal with it than it will be to actually just, like, let it exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's still going to be there, though.
How about you, Kelly?
I agree. Like, I don't think it'll ever really go away, but I don't know.
Well, I guess I would agree that it won't go away. I think that it will probably grow in popularity, not necessarily amongst the population in general. I think as we get older, we're going to stop pirating as much, and I think that the younger generation, piracy is going to become more and more prominent for those under 20s. But I would not be surprised if some government bill blew up the internet temporarily and the public backlashed and they had to take it down. But I don't think that they will ever succeed in getting rid of piracy. Mainly because there are just so many venues for it, not just the internet. And the internet itself has backups like Tor and whatnot to go to. So, all right. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. This has been our episode on piracy. Please tune in next time for whatever topic it shall be. Dylan, why don't you say goodbye?
Goodbye, everybody. I'm Dylan, apparently.
Kelly?
Bye.
And Mackenzie.
So long. Thanks for listening.
And I have been Justin W. Thank you so much for tuning in. That concludes this episode of the Vastcast. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and head on over to vastcast.wordpress.com for all of your Vastcast needs. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot us an email at vastcastpodcast@gmail.com. Our opening theme is Moon Theme Remix by Plasma 3 Music, and our ending song for this episode is the aforementioned Don't Copy That Floppy, which was incidentally downloaded off of YouTube. Stay tuned, same Vast time, same Vast channel for our next episode, Zombies. Vastcast is a 13th grade production.
The images for games and grammar that let you learn, but also play the game you came here for today. Now I know you love the games, and that's alright to do, because the posse who makes them, they love them too. But if you start stealing, there's no more they can do.
But I just wanted to make one copy.
You say, I'll just make a copy for me and a friend. Then he'll make one and she'll make one, and where will it end? One leads to another, then 10, then more. And no one buys any discs from the store. So no one gets paid and they can't make more. The posse breaks up and then closes the stores. Don't copy that floppy. So let me break this down for you. No Carmen San Diego, no more Oregon Trail. Tetris and the others, they're all gonna fail. Not because we want it, but because you're just taking it. Disrespecting all the folks who are making it. The more you take, the less there will be. The discs become fewer, the games fall away. The screen starts to shrink and then it will fade. Programs fall through a black hole in space. The computer world becomes bleak and stark. life and the screen goes to dark. Welcome to the end of the computer age.